She was 9 the first time she learned that silence could be heavier than screaming. Her mother's boyfriend had come home drunk again, and the walls were thin. Most kids would have cried. She didn't. She sat on the bathroom floor with her knees pulled to her chest, counting heartbeats like seconds on a clock she was trying to slow down. 1, 2, 3. By the time she reached 100, the yelling had stopped. She didn't feel brave. She felt hollowed out, like someone had scooped the middle of her and left only the shell. That was the first brick. Years collected them quietly. A father who disappeared the way smoke does, suddenly, without apology. A mother who loved her in bursts between men who never stayed. Friends who called her too serious when she couldn't laugh at the same jokes anymore. Every time something inside her cracked, she patched it with stillness. She learned to smile with her mouth, but not her eyes. She learned to say, "I'm fine," in a voice so steady it scared people. By 15, she could sit in a room full of chaos and look like the calmest person there. Teachers called her mature. Classmates asked her for advice about breakups she had never been allowed to have. No one saw the nights she spent on the roof of her apartment building, pressing her back against the cold brick, trying to breathe around the storm that lived under her ribs. She called it thunder, that feeling. Not loud, not dramatic, just constant. A low, rolling pressure that reminded her every second. You are holding too much. You were built for lighter things. At 17, she met a boy with gentle hands and a laugh that sounded like sunrise. For 3 months, she almost believed the thunder could quiet down. Then one night he looked at her, really looked, and said, "You're like a house with all the lights off. I never know which rooms are safe to walk into." He left. Not with a fight. Just with distance that grew and grew until it became goodbye. Another brick. By 21, she had perfected the art of disappearing while standing still. She could listen to someone cry for hours and never let her own tears fall. She could pack an entire life into 2 duffels in under 30 minutes. The night her mother overdosed, she could hold her little brother while he shook and whisper, it's okay," when nothing was okay and never had been. People started saying it, "You're so strong." She started hating the word strong because strong sounded like choice. This wasn't choice. This was gravity. This was the only way the pieces still fit together. And then one night, on a Greyhound bus somewhere between nowhere and nowhere else, it happened. The thunder didn't roar. It simply stopped rolling forward. She sat in the back row, forehead against the cold window, and felt something inside her fold. Not break, fold. Like paper that has carried too many words. But inside her chest, a bridge that had never been designed for this much weight finally, quietly, gave in. She is 31 now. She still works at the diner some nights because she likes the people who only exist after midnight. She finished her degree in psychology, slowly, 1 class at a time, because she wanted to understand the architecture of survival, not just live in it. She has a small office with plants that thrive and a couch that is heard more honest sentences than most churches. Her clients call her the calmest person they've ever met. They don't see that her calmness was earned in fire. They don't see the nights she still spends on the roof, but now she goes there to watch stars instead of counting heartbeats. They don't see the text thread with her girlfriend that just says, "Thunder check-in 3:10 today. How about you? 10 ice cream and cuddles?" Always. Some days the old folding feeling creeps in. Some days she still braces for impact when someone raises their voice. But now she knows what it is, and knowing is half the battle. She has a tattoo on her left rib cage, right over the place the thunder used to live loudest. It's a tiny lighthouse with storm clouds behind it and the words, "I was not broken. I was built for this." She tells her clients, "You don't have to be grateful for the storm. You're allowed to wish it never came. But look what it taught you to carry. Look what it taught you to become." Last week, a 16-year-old girl sat across from her, knees pulled to chest, counting heartbeats. Same posture, same hollow eyes. The girl whispered, "I think something's wrong with me because I don't cry anymore." She leaned forward and said, "Nothing is wrong with you. You just learned stillness before you were ready. It's okay to be tired of being strong. It's okay to let the thunder be loud sometimes. One day you'll sit on a different floor in a different city, and you'll realize the storm didn't destroy you. It shaped you into someone who knows exactly how to hold another person's lightning without getting burned." The girl cried then. For the first time in years, and in that small office that smells like tea and safety, two people who carried thunder in their ribs sat together, in the kind of silence that finally felt light. Music rises, piano and strings, hopeful. If you are listening to this and your own chest feels heavy tonight, hear this. You are not too much. You were never too much. The world simply asked you to carry more than any child, any heart, any soul should ever have to. Still, you kept a corner of your heart soft enough to love again. You are the lighthouse standing long after the worst of the storm has passed. And one day, someone shaking on a bathroom floor will need exactly the kind of steady you fought so hard to become. Until then, rest when you can. Cry when you need to. Speak your thunder out loud when it gets too heavy to carry alone. You were never the storm. You were the one who learned how to dance in it until the music came back. And the music always comes back. After the folding came the stillness. Not peace, stillness. The kind that happens when the power goes out in a house that has been running on emergency generators for years. She got off the bus in a city she didn't know with $400 and a phone. That was 2 days from being shut off. She found a job at a 24-hour diner because night shifts meant fewer questions. She rented a room above a laundromat that smelled like detergent and old grief. She learned to sleep in 3-hour pieces because anything longer felt dangerous. People liked her at the diner. She remembered orders without writing them down. She could tell which truck driver was about to cry, just by the way he stirred his coffee. She never forgot a birthday, a dead pet's name, a kid's first day of school. They called her Old Soul. She wanted to laugh. Old souls are born gentle. She had been carved. At 25, she started therapy because a regular told her, "You look like someone who's drowning on dry land." The first session, she sat perfectly straight and said nothing for 50 minutes. The therapist waited. On the 6th session, she finally spoke. She said, "I don't know how to knead things." The therapist asked, "What happens when you try?" She answered, "I feel like I'm stealing oxygen." That was the first time she cried in front of another human since she was 9. Healing wasn't linear. Some weeks she felt lighter. Some weeks the thunder came back so loud she had to pull her car over and grip the steering wheel until her knuckles went white. She learned words like hypervigilance, emotional dysregulation, complex PTSD. She hated the labels at first. Then she realized naming the storm didn't make it stronger. It just meant she wasn't crazy for feeling rain when everyone else saw sun. She started small experiments in being human. She bought a plant and didn't kill it. She adopted a cat that was missing half an ear and understood abandonment. She let a coworker hug her without tensing every muscle. She practiced saying, "I don't know," instead of the automatic, "I'm fine." At 27, she fell in love again. This time with a woman who had her own thunder and wasn't afraid of storms. They moved slowly, spoke carefully, left notes on the fridge that said things like, "I'm having a heavy day, please be soft with me." And, "I see you trying. I'm proud of you." For the first time in her life, someone held space for her collapse. When the thunder got loud, her girlfriend didn't try to fix it. She just sat beside her on the bathroom floor, the same way. She once sat alone and said, "I've got you. You don't have to hold the sky today." It wasn't magic. There were still nights she woke up gasping, certain the world was ending. There were still moments she apologized for taking up space. But slowly, the bridge inside her chest began to be rebuilt. Not into the flimsy thing it once was, into something stronger. Something that knew its own weight and could carry it without shame.